Yeah, welcome to WTF.
No,
Hey, wait, we're not WTF?
no, we're the Dagnabbit boys.
Oh, well, WTF is way cooler because way more people listen to it.
Yeah, but just in case anybody's confused, this is a Dagnabbit boys podcast.
Another LA-based podcast.
Yeah, just some background on us. I am a clinical psychologist. I got my degree at Johns Hopkins. I also did some undergraduate work at USC, and I got my PhD at Cornell, which I am embarrassed of, but that is what it is. I've been working in the field for 16 years, usually with adolescent criminals, things like that, and that's most of what we talk about. Shane, do you want to introduce yourself and your?
Yeah, I'm Shane Bianchi. I have a master's degree from Princeton.
Very cool.
In keeping it real, otherwise known as sociology. But a lot of people would call it keeping it real. And what I bring to the podcast is he talks about adolescent criminals. I talk about the systems, the flaws in our systems that lead children down that avenue.
Yeah, and you are part of a new generation of sociologists who studied sociology so you could, quote, get to know black guys better.
That is a direct quote from me. Yes, I had never met a black person until I was 23. It was part of our graduate program that we would meet one black person, and we would write a paper, a review of black people from that. And my review is a glowing review. It was a glowing review of black people.
That's great. Do you think anybody joined sociology and they were like, because then I can talk to the brothers in the hood?
Me.
Yeah,
I did it.
Okay,
Yeah. No. I'm not. We're not doing this thing where we break bits.
And there were. We're not doing this bullshit thing where we stop doing a bit. If you start it, it's the whole episode.
Oh yeah. Those are the ones people like the most.
But you mentioned, that there were. It was all white people in that class, which was based on inclusivity. And you as a white group really did a lot of good studying.
Well, there's a lot of white people in there, but there was also a bunch of white people who were LGBTQ.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Which if you are LGBTQ, you understand a lot about what black people have gone through.
It's many would say exactly the same.
It's essentially the same.
A lot of people say that
because of history. A lot of trans people have been put in ghettos.
Yes.
But yeah. A couple of people in my class, they wrote negative reviews of black people. They were given a B while I was given an A+.
They still received a B though.
The professor said we don't agree, but these are some really good points.
But it's a tolerance policy.
Yes.
Of Princeton to accept new ideas.
Oh yeah.
Even if I guess what they're saying isn't new ideas, it's like old race science that's been abandoned.
Oh yeah, we had a bunch of very 70 to 80-year-old men who were really into measuring skulls and stuff.
Yeah, I had a weird thing.
In fact, they couldn't let. We all had to talk to the black guy in a group because if we let those guys alone with the black guy, they would try to measure his skull.
Yeah, when I was in college in a sociology class, we had this one student who is a 98-year-old man named Werner von Eisen, and he said he used to work in the government. And kind of the medical field. And yeah, we had to keep him away from some students because he considered himself a scientist and a bit of an experimenter, but all his universities were from like the German Empire before World War I. I don't know.
Did he have any particular types of students he wanted to test on, like twins or anything like that?
He did. And he also said that the school was bound to fall apart due to lack of like a homogeneous. He doesn't know he didn't really get what a college was.
Yeah.
He seemed to think it was all supposed to be like one group of people there. But once again, my college allowed for an open forum of debate, and Werner became the head of a lot of clubs at the school, mostly interested in kind of identity-based politics. I'm so sick of this identity politics, and by that I mean Nazism. I'm on the other side where I talk about identity politics a lot, but I'm not making some argument.
Yeah. Identity politics. Like, I don't give a shit if you're Aryan.
Yeah,
I don't give a fuck.
I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? I judge
everybody. Be Aryan. Just don't flash it in my face.
Yeah.
Don't get up in my face with that shit.
I don't care if you're Slavic or whatever. It's It's fine. Just don't get all up in my face with it.
That's the problem with the Nazis. They were just up in everyone's face.
They were
up, all the time.
They were up in everybody's grill pretty often. There's a new documentary on Netflix about Hitler and his
we
rise.
Totally needed another one of those.
Yeah.
We don't know enough about Hitler.
We really don't, and it's good that we're making documentaries before
we can kind of finally get to the bottom of this.
It's good to make more documentaries before we even find out new stuff, because I'm sure they'd find out new stuff in the future, but they don't wait to make a doc about it.
What else is there to find out? Like, what was Hitler's favorite type of soup? It's like...
Everybody wants to know everything about that guy is the reason they keep making stuff. He's very compelling. He's like, he killed millions of people. He's so evil. So they're like, yeah, we're going to keep making movies about him.
And we're going to keep talking about him on the podcast. We got to keep talking about Hitler all the time.
Yeah, but anyway, what was I saying? You've distracted me.
Oh, we were talking about Werner von...
Well, yeah, I know, but it was something specific that they were doing, but...
Oh, yeah, they had the Aryan group.
I don't know. Oh, this documentary is interesting. It talks a lot more about the Nazification of Germany, so kind of like the societal changes and stuff. But they keep doing this dumb thing where they keep comparing things Hitler did to things Trump does. And it's like, yeah, we all know Trump takes a lot from Hitler.
Yeah.
Like, that's also, you're making this thing too late. This documentary is too late. If you want to make a documentary exposing how a lot of Trump's like nationalism tactics and stuff are derivative of Hitler, then make it in 2015. Make it before he's voted if you want to make a big point. Don't let the guy get into office, get voted out, and then make a pussy-ass documentary where you're like, and Trump's actually like him. It's like, everybody knows that. The people who like him know that. The people who don't like him know that. We all know he's like Hitler. There's no more information to spread. Like, it's very clear that he does things that are like Hitler.
Do you think there's a lot of guys doing stand-up in Nazi Germany, and their take on Hitler was, Hitler's a problem, but you got to admit, what he says is really funny. Do you think there's a lot of people like that?
Oh, like, yeah, like the one guy in Germany that's like, he is funny.
You gotta admit he's funny.
We can admit that. Hitler is funny. I don't think so. I don't think he was... he had zero wackiness. Trump does make jokes.
I don't know. He's pretty wacky if you watch some of those videos. He's like doing slapstick.
But his words, like, he moves around a lot.
We don't know German comedy. We don't know if he's being funny.
I mean, you can watch his speeches subtitled, and he's
but that doesn't mean, like... we're going to lose a lot of comedy if we aren't native speakers.
Yeah, but like the words themselves are like, we as a German people must unite.
Maybe there's jokes slipped into there.
So your argument is that Hitler could be very funny,
and that a
lot of his jokes, due to lack of context, are lost on us. Because you're like, comedy's so specific to the society and culture, and they kind of created a new culture, a Nazi culture, which nobody's a part of anymore. At least not in that way. So we can't really understand where those jokes came from.
Edgy Nazi comedy was like pro-Jewish?
I think like an edgy, like if you are a Nazi and you made an edgy comedy joke, it would be something like, I'm going to go on a date with a Jewish woman. And then people would be like, whoa, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Something like that. Or maybe some like joke about like, because they had a lot of like race science of like mixed race people and then like full Jewish and like mom or dad. So maybe some joke involving those, like, what do you get when you mix like a mixed race person with a Aryan? And then they're like, what? And he's like, a ruined society or something, would probably be.
That's like social commentary, kind of.
Social commentary if you believe in
what you're talking,
and you're racist. Yes. Yeah. I mean,
if you're not racist, a lot of these racist jokes have no commentary.
No,
they're kind of just a bunch of words you said.
Well, it's kind of just a bunch of racism.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not funny. You're just sort of like, oh. But you know why this documentary is actually good is because I didn't know this. I guess
there was pussies out.
Well,
a
lot,
boobs.
Actually. It's weird. There's a lot of boobs in the documentary, but they're always at the worst times. But no, there's this one American reporter who's very famous. I guess he wrote a book I would like to read. His name is like William L. Shire, and he was in Nazi Germany during like the formation in the early years of the party. And he left like when they were ramping up, like kind of like before they went into the Sudetenland. But he saw all of it. So he has all this stuff where he's like, yeah, every day they'd release like newspapers like ranting about Jewish people. And then the Olympics came and they stopped producing any of those newspapers and like cleaned it up. But I didn't realize there was just an American journalist that was like in Nazi Germany just being like, this seems bad.
And he was like, a lot of, because we don't speak the same language, there's a lot of comedy in Hitler's speeches that we don't notice. So as an American journalist, I'm going to break it down.
Yeah, no, that's what's most of what he was talking about, and it's kind of why it didn't really get through in America, because they were like, some people say Hitler's evil, some people say he's not. There's one guy that says he's funny.
Evil and funny?
They didn't have a word for like, kind of like, I don't know, like black-pilled, edgy guy yet, but that was William L. Shire. He's like, he's actually fucking funny. Everything sucks, you know?
And actually, he like made stuff good,
but it's pretty crazy.
But not
because,
really.
Like, sometimes
it's all bad.
Sometimes this guy William L. Shire would try and say stuff on his radio broadcast in Germany that was like anti-Nazi party, and then they'd like shut him down. But then he's like, and they turned off my broadcast, or they like ran like a bad piece about him, or they're like, this guy's a bad reporter. He's a smear campaign. He's like, and I walked right into the Nazi headquarters and slammed my hand down on their desk and asked them to take out that propaganda. And it's like, you also sound stupid. Like, you're walking up to the Nazis being like, this is bullshit. This isn't good reporting. It's like, you, more than anyone else in the world, knew who the Nazis were kind of like first. You know what I mean? Like, because all of America got tricked by the Olympics. They were like, they went over, they were like, they're cool. They're really nice. Like, everything's
They won
great.
So many medals.
Well, America won medals. I mean, we kicked Germany's ass a lot in that one. Because that's a famous one with Jesse Owens, where the black dude was so much faster than every white guy there. And that kind of...
I was just saying that's what they're saying. They're like, they won a lot of medals.
Right. But, yeah, so that guy's fucking there, and like... But it's just very funny because he's like, I told Goebbels this is unjust. And it's like, yeah, it's Joseph Goebbels.
I went into Mangala and I said, this is as dumb as nailing two twins together with a spiked nail. A spiked nail. And then dissecting their brains because you don't know what sort of goofy ass shit is in there. And then Mangala had a bunch of ideas after that.
Is that what they did? Nail twins to each other?
I don't know. That's some stuff I made
they,
up.
Sewed them together, but a nail is...
Yeah,
they're not pieces of wood.
Twins to me, it's like I don't agree with the Nazis about much, but their take on twins, I definitely agree with that. Twins they're goofy.
Yeah, I mean, twins have never really had their day in the sun.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever been like, ooh, I love seeing a pair of twins.
That used to be a thing.
Well, the Coors Light or whatever commercial that was for, sure. That was a weird time where it's just a whole commercial about fucking two sisters at the same time. And
and how hot it is.
And I guess that happens if you drink Coors Light, then two sisters will defy God in a horrific violation of each other's bodies for you, in front of you, and to you.
Yeah, and you get so hard because it's like evil. You're in the presence of evil.
But that's why we beat Hitler, so we could have the And Twins campaign. If Hitler won, there would be no And Twins campaign.
I mean, we'd still have it, but it'd be really bad. It'd be really fucked up.
Drink Coors Light and kill twins, I guess would be it. Kill twins. You gotta kill twins.
Yeah, you gotta gouge... Yeah, drink Coors Light and you'll gouge two twins' eyeballs out and fuck them.
But yeah, the documentary on Netflix is like pretty funny because they just kind of like slip in like stuff that's just sort of like, and America was also racist, and you're like, yeah, we know that. There's tons of documentaries about that too.
Yeah,
you know, it's like, and yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, they're kind of trying to have their cake and eat it.
Well, there's like even one part where they're talking about fucking like this was like the most, and like I fucking hate Trump too. I never voted for the guy, but it's like weird how they bring him up so much in this Hitler documentary because they're talking about Hitler's like winter retreat, and then some lady's like, it was his Mar-a-Lago, if you will, and I'm like, what does that even have to do? Like, all presidents had houses, you know what I mean? It's like weird that we're just sort of being like, and also Trump is, because it's just like, I don't think we get anything from comparing Trump to Hitler. I think looking at Trump's way of speaking and like his nationalism and the way it's been used by people like Hitler and Stalin and bad people is important. But if we're just going to be like, yeah, Hitler had a getaway, just like Mar-a-Lago, it's like, well, those two things
they're being bitchy.
Yeah, it's like, it's not evil to have a house. You know what I mean? Like, if we're going to compare the two, you should compare the bad things. You shouldn't be like, Hitler had a sweet fucking house. You know who else did? Trump.
Yeah, Hitler hated smoking. Trump, I don't know. It seems like he probably does. He seems like that sort. He's kind of he's got a feminine type of thing going on a little bit.
Yeah, they are similar. Like they don't. I don't know. I mean,
what's the
Hitler didn't drink. I think him and Trump are similar in that they both just kind of do meth.
Oh,
they both just like being hyped up. Because Trump's a big like no drug, no alcohol guy, at least publicly, and I think Hitler was too. I don't think he drank or anything.
I'm pretty sure you're right. Damn, that's crazy to go up there and be Hitler sober.
Well,
if you're fucked up, sometimes you're Hitler.
You're on meth, though.
Yeah.
He was on meth.
Okay.
So.
But he thought it was medicine.
Do you know what I was thinking about, though? It sucks that, like, German politicians can't scream, because I'm pretty sure the way Hitler spoke is, like, what gets Germans hyped up. Like, that's the kind of speaking that gets them amped up. That's like their Abraham Lincoln. Like, our, like, 70 years ago, they like to hear somebody be like, I shot! Like, I think they like that. But now, if you're a German politician, you can't be like, I shot! Because people are like, oh, no, like, you can't scream.
Yeah, what about a German rapper who just goes that? Or any sort of German musician?
But they should be allowed to scream. Because if a German politician was running for, like, chancellor or whatever, and fucking screamed, the video would go viral. You know what I mean? Of a German politician be like, like, people would lose. Even if he was just like, inclusivity is the key to success. Like, even if he was being super left, you just can't scream anymore. That's why they're all so calm now. But they're not calm people. They're not. You can't trust
That's not what I learned at Princeton.
What did you learn at Princeton?
Well, we met up with a German guy, and unfortunately, like, this was another thing, another part of graduate, because none of us had met one. Unfortunately, somebody left the two twins alone with the German guy. He cut off their tits and then sewed them onto the others as an experiment to see if he could do that.
Where was this German guy from? Was he like
Austria.
How old was he?
He was 86 years old.
He's an Austrian who's 86 years old.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you ask him any other questions about his youth and what he was
kept yelling at us.
Really?
We'd ask him a question, he wouldn't understand, so he'd start yelling at us in German.
Did he speak English?
No.
Oh.
He didn't speak English.
So you guys like flew in a German-speaking Nazi.
We got him out of prison.
Oh, God. He wasn't put to death?
No.
He's the Nazi that got a life sentence. I love the Nazi that gets a life sentence of like, what I did was bad, but not bad enough to kill me.
He pled guilty. He was the only one that actually pled guilty.
Right. Also, the documentary I'm watching, this is actually a great documentary. It's actually different than ones I've seen. They have a lot of audio from the Nuremberg trials. And video of it, and there's this one.
Do they have the video of Eichmann getting slimed? Like that Nickelodeon slime?
That didn't get caught on video because the slime fucked up the old film cameras.
Oh.
But a lot of people don't know the whole Nickelodeon sliming thing actually started at the Nuremberg trials because they had to set such a precedent for like the thing Crime Against Humanity that was invented for the Nuremberg trials.
Mm-hmm.
So they're also like, well, how do we visually let people know that this is not a regular trial? So they did slime. They had thumbtacks on all the seats. So every time the Nazis sat down, they were
they sat down on a whoopee cushion, and the Nazis were embarrassed.
Yeah, that guy William L. Shirer is like, seeing the formerly flamboyant and audacious Hermann Goering sit on a whoopee cushion felt like the day he fell on his sword. It was very impactful. But there's this one guy who would write a lot. He was like a big propaganda guy, not Goebbels. I know he was kind of the head of it, but there's a guy who. He had the most racist, disgusting newspaper that's ever existed.
Oh, Der Stromer or whatever?
I think it was that, yeah. So they interview him, and he's the only Nazi that just admits to everything and like does not hold back. Because all the other Nazis, for as evil as they are, when they ask them what they were involved with, they're like, well, my position was to do this, so I can't. They just kind of dodge the question. But they ask this guy, and they're like, was the plan to exterminate all Jews? He's like, as far as I was concerned, that was the plan. And I did my best to spread that message to the German people to let them know that this is what we had to do. And then he's also like, he obviously still believes all the Nazi ideology. So he's like, and we told him that like no country can ever survive without, a homogenous Aryan society. And was just like saying it as if you were asking him not on trial. Where he's like, yeah, I believe that. And like, even the reporter, William L. Shirer, is like, I never got used to listening to that guy talk. Like, I could never stomach it. Because the other guys, like, I think it was Goering. He's like a big fat former Air Force pilot. If you ever see pictures of the Nazis, he's always a guy that's in like white or blue and he has all these medals. He looks like an idiot. He was all like big and cocky. And then when he's in the trial, he's like, oh.
Yeah.
Like they're all bitches then. But then there's just this one guy that's like, oh yeah, man. I wanted to kill all the Jews. And he's like, and he's like, was there a specific plan to do this? He's like, I was never at the meeting where that was said, but I just assumed that was the vibe. Yeah, he's like, that was my plan.
And it's funny because he was the writer. He was the art guy.
Yeah, that was their art. That was their art. Which also, I mean, not to do the thing I was making fun of the documentary about, but it's interesting that the new conservative thing, because you know how conservatives are trying to make a lot of art now in America, where they're like, we're funny, or like, look at this movie we made about trans people that makes like an overly simplified point or whatever. That it's like that guy that wrote the racist newspaper is similar to those people because they're really only driven by like not the force of making art, but the force of spreading an ideology.
Yeah.
Which even if your ideology is not inherently evil or what, even if your ideology is just like love animals, if that's the reason you're making your art, it's going to suck because you're just going to have this one single focus and it'll really just be more like you're just trying to shove information in front of people's faces and really like create anything. But yeah, I don't know. As far as I can tell, all those guys in the Nazi party,
I'm glad they got slimed.
I mean, I never want to be,
I'm glad. I was so funny when they would accidentally say the word of the day and everyone starts screaming.
Yeah. They were also doing a lot of not it in the courtroom.
Yeah.
So, like, they'd be like, oh, you are sentenced to death for crimes against humanity, disturbing of the peace, blah, blah, blah. And then one of the Nazis would be like, not it.
Yeah.
And then all the other Nazis would say not it.
Yeah, and then the last guy.
Nobody else in the courtroom that hadn't said it was a Nazi anymore. So it went around and the judge almost got sentenced because he didn't know what not it was.
The judge actually did get sentenced. The judge was actually the first guy to be hung.
Yeah, the judge was hung because the Nazis invented not it, which hadn't been outlawed in a courtroom
It was
yet.
invented by Joseph Mengele. He discovered not it while dissecting a small baby.
Yeah, one of the babies said not it, and that baby.
He was trying to decide which babies to pick, and then one of them said not it.
And that baby grew up to be Jimmy Carter.
Oh,
so
wow!
That's something that's interesting about that.
Oh, that's crazy. Is he still alive?
Jimmy Carter is still alive. He's like literally 98. He's still alive.
I hope this episode releases on the day that he dies.
People like Jimmy Carter's pretty cool.
Yeah, but he's old.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be good. It'd be a good thing for our podcast if it was released on the day that he passes.
I mean, he was president like 40 fucking years ago, and he's like not even that much older than our current
Isn't that
president.
crazy? Isn't it crazy though that if you're president, they're gonna do whatever you like when you're not a president anymore. They're gonna do everything in their power to keep you alive.
Yeah, I mean, you get a Secret Service for the rest of your life. Is that what you mean?
No, I just mean like he's probably getting medical shit that we could never even dream of.
Well, that's just money. More than even having been the president, he just has a bunch of money.
Is that what we need? We just need to get a bunch of money, and then we won't die at fucking 55 like we probably are going to.
Well, because like,
you'll die at 34. I'll die at 55.
Why is that?
I don't know. It's just a feeling I'm going off of.
Yeah, a guy with $1 million. A guy with $1 billion is going to get as good of medical treatment as like the fucking president. He just might not get it as fast. I think the president gets faster medical treatment. Like they can.
You know who got terrible medical treatment was JFK. They couldn't get there fast enough.
Well, I've always defended the doctors not being able to do that much because I know that you studied sociology. I studied a good amount of medicine, and I
think if JFK was a black man,
well, let me talk because you need to learn something. When the skull is exploded, oftentimes it is very hard to recover. And so the doctors were left with
he's also shot in the neck.
They were presented with a classic medical quandary.
Oh.
Which is, to try and put the brain back in the head, which is usually a layman's way of trying to fix the problem, such as Jackie Kennedy. It was a very layman response.
I thought... Well, you remember the part of the video where she grabs the brains and starts eating them?
Yeah.
She was actually very hungry.
Nobody talks about that.
She was very hungry. That's why she was grabbing all the brains and picking them up of her shirt or of her dress to eat them.
Whenever I see the video of Jackie Kennedy trying to pick up all the brains, I go, this woman clearly has no medical training. Anybody with the slightest bit of medical training would know that brains cannot be put back into the head.
I see that
first thing you learn in medical school.
Yeah, I see the video of her screaming, and I go, "Oh, what a dumbass!" Number one rule: keep calm.
What a dumbass. Jackie Kennedy tried to put the brains back in the head. Very dumb. The CIA already killed him.
You remember the part of the clip where she picks up the brains and she's like, brain fight, and starts throwing brains at the people in the audience?
Very, very disrespectful.
I mean, your husband just died, Miss,
your husband just died, and you are eating his brains and throwing them.
Do you think it'd be funny? It'd be funny though if like somebody had to tell her that he died. Yeah, like they take him away, and somebody still has to be like, "Hey, your husband passed away."
I actually don't know if that's a joke. I think she might have been in so much shock. Oh yeah, no, because she showed up to the fucking hospital with like pieces of his skull and brain, like in her pockets or some shit, and was like, "Do you need this?" And they were like,
"You can keep it."
So she actually didn't really realize he was dead because she couldn't accept it. Yeah. I mean, because even though it's like obviously he's dead, that same thing that's so obvious is so traumatic.
Yeah.
That how do you accept that? Like you can't, like if I saw you get shot in the head, it would be hard for me to be like, Shane is dead. I'd have to be like, okay, Shane's head got exploded. It would be hard to accept. You know what I mean? So yeah, she showed up to the hospital with like a chunk of skull and was like, "Can you use this?" And the doctor was like, "This bitch, get her the fuck out of here. She needs help. Why are we letting her walk around with skull in her pockets?" And she's like, "I'm just trying to help out." And they're like, "He's fucking dead. Like, he died in front of you."
Hey, it's like, hey, come check this out. And they take her in the back, and they're all shooting him again.
Yeah,
they're all just shooting him.
Yeah, because
they're shooting him repeatedly.
Yeah. Well, actually, you know, it'd be funny if instead of trying to give the skull to the doctor, she just showed it to the Secret Service. Like, "You want to see something crazy? I got some skull. They didn't take it from me. I'll sell this to you for $2,500 in 2 weeks if you want it."
Zapruder, do you think he ever got pussy off of that tape? Because the tape of the president of like JFK getting shot is called the Zapruder film and not the JFK film.
Well, yeah.
Zapruder probably got laid off of it.
I just don't really know, like, in what context.
I mean,
you also have
he's like famous.
Yeah, but at that time, it's like journalism is still a pretty like male-dominated market. So I just feel like, I don't know. I don't think it really made anybody.
Maybe he was gay.
I think people took the situation very seriously. I don't think anybody was horny.
Well, probably years afterwards. He's like, "Hey, my name is Zapruder, from the famous film."
I mean, yeah, but he's not like a reporter. He's just a guy with a camera.
I know, but he's famous now because of the shooting.
Did we ever find out if Zapruder voted for Donald Trump?
Is he still alive?
Otherwise, we can't really watch that tape anymore.
Yeah. Let's see if Zapruder's still alive.
I bet he's fucking dead.
I bet he died in like a week afterwards.
What if he died the exact same way? What if he was driving in a convertible and got shot in the head?
Yeah, Zapruder moved to South Central LA in the 90s and was driving around in his convertible.
Zapruder had a crazy life. What if Zapruder just got a film of everything? Like he got a video of Mitzi Hustle getting killed and shit.
American Clothing Manufacturer. He was a clothing guy.
Ooh.
He died in 1970.
So he didn't vote for Donald Trump.
No, he died of stomach cancer.
Do we know what he thought about Donald Trump?
They were friends.
It's just, yeah,
best. Yeah. Look, spouse Lillian Shapovic, children 2, best friend Donald Trump.
Seriously?
Yeah, it's on the Wikipedia page.
Well, burn the tape. JFK's still alive. Turns out it was a Russian psyop.
Yeah, I mean, if you want me to convince me JFK's dead, you're gonna have to dig him up and shoot him and give me the gun so I can shoot him myself.
Yeah, because
that's the only way I'll accept it.
Yeah, but even if you saw JFK's real dead body after you forced people to dig him up, you would just say, "Well, I'm only using my eyes to actually perceive this, and how can I trust that? It's just a human function." You know what I mean?
Well, I just see the skeleton. I'm like, this. Why are you showing me this sexy ass skeleton for?
Right.
This skeleton that has so much charm.
Right. So much charm and class.
Yeah.
Look at this all-American skeleton.
Oh, is the skeleton Catholic? I don't know if we want this skeleton.
You can tell the skeleton is Catholic because its bones are gold now.
I'm not leaving this skeleton alone with my daughter.
Man, I went to the Dead & Company shows at the Sphere, which is the big place in Las Vegas with the big old screen. And there's a kid behind me that was singing along to the songs, which is, everybody does that a little bit. But he was singing really loudly, but he couldn't sing. So, people that don't really sing, they just go like, I had a hard run, running from your window. Like, he wouldn't, his voice, the tone wouldn't change the way you're supposed to when you sing. He would just keep the same tone and then just get, louder.
Yeah.
But he had a completely dead voice that had, a buzz to it, and it would just hit my head.
Yeah.
And it, went over all the music I could hear. We eventually moved seats, but I was about to turn around and just be like, hey, dog, I don't want to ruin your time, but you're, a horrifically bad singer. You're, the worst thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
And you're singing louder than anybody here. It seemed like he was doing it as, a TikTok prank.
Oh.
It almost seemed like that, because he was, a young kid, too. And I think he was just a fucking... I turned around, he looked like kind of a nerd.
Oh, yeah?
Nerds
that makes
shouldn't
sense.
sing.
That makes sense if he was at the Grateful Dead when he was 15 or whatever.
But I wanted to fucking give him $40 and just be like, just don't sing.
$40? That's the sex amount of money?
The sex amount of money? What do you mean?
Yeah, if you give a woman $40, that's, if a woman...
Where are you getting this from?
The internet.
What is this?
The internet. I've heard that $40, that's sex.
Any woman?
Not any woman, but a lot of them.
Who's saying this?
The internet.
Pimps that you're watching on Soft White Underbelly, being you give a lady $40, she do anything. Is that what you're basing this off of?
There's a guy I know.
There's a guy you know says any woman, he offers him $40 and they fuck him.
Yeah, it's Smoggy40.
That's his name?
Yeah.
I don't think that's true.
It's a guy from Brooklyn.
I just don't think that's a true thing. But, I don't know.
I had to drop my roommate off at the airport today, and I made multiple wrong turns and got kept in the arrivals for a very long time. Anyway, that's what I did today.
Well, he just hopped out in the arrivals, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine. Sometimes dropping people off at, arrivals at a certain time is the better move.
Yeah?
Yeah, depending on, when people are arriving or getting off, it's, usually they'll be different. They won't be as packed in certain places. And since it's just a stair set, you can get dropped off at arrivals, walk right up to departure, and kind of skip the car line sometimes. I don't know if that's always... it always depends on kind of when you're showing up,
I know in the 70s, the area around the airport was the worst part of LA. Anywhere near the airport, you didn't want to be.
Do you think that's a result of, they kind of redlined and created these shitty areas, and then when they had to chop down a bunch of houses to build a huge airport, they're like, we'll just do it in the shitty areas?
That's probably is what happened.
It's kind of a chicken or egg. It's because I don't know if the airport makes it shitty as much as, it was probably already shitty, so they're like, whatever, this is just collateral damage nobody cares about, so we can just build an airport.
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
It was that, and there's a place in Hollywood called Yucca's Corridor where a lot of the punk bands lived. It was a very small neighborhood in Hollywood, and that was a very fucked up place. There's stories about Darby Crash. He would come home late at night, and then one time he was walking, saw a guy just get shot right in the head. And it was JFK.
Okay, that's what I needed from that story. Yeah, I don't know why. I didn't... I don't really care about that. I feel like I should.
Yeah, it's punk rock history.
You just hear that and you're like, who gives a fuck?
That a guy just got shot in the head in front of Darby Crash?
But everybody does. What band was
The Germs.
The Germs? All right. Okay. Well, we're an LA punk podcast.
Yeah, we're LA punk.
We talk about it every goddamn episode.
Well, let's see. What is our...
Gotta hear about these fucking losers all the time.
You hate them. You hate punk.
I hate punk. Go get a job.
No. Oh, today
I was sitting next to two fucking annoying people on the plane, like green hair, dangly earrings, white, don't shave, don't have ugly pimples, always chubby, Coogee sweater, Junko shorts, Doc Martens, high socks. You know this new look?
No, not really.
Okay. But it's a bad look. They fucking smell like a Goodwill because they get all their clothes there and for some reason don't wash them off. So you just walk around smelling like a thrift shop. And they were also like, you know, very just like me, but like even more annoying. Like the kind of people Fox News is like, these fucking annoying, like anxious kids. It was like them. And I was like watching this guy out of the corner of my eye just try and read a book.
Oh, yeah.
But he just kept being like, just like kept getting bothered by people. But it was also like getting a little greedy with the armrests, you know? And I'm just like, you're not actually nice either. You know what I mean? And then like when the plane ended, his bag was on his, this kind of thing where he put his backpack on and it was like right in my face and I like pushed it a little, but there's also like, it's also one of those situations where you're like, this is going to be over in a couple seconds. So I don't really feel like starting a confrontation with this guy, but it's just like, I could just hear him be like, oh, it's irritating back there. And it's just like, so bothered by all this shit, but also so self-centered. Yeah. It's like annoying to sit next to on a flight. And it's just like,
I feel like that type of like, I feel like dyed hair is not a thing I see often in LA. Like dyed hair in that way, like green hair.
Yeah. Well, it's a kind of a big non-binary uniform. Green hair, dangly earring, Coogee sweater, Junko shorts, Doc Martens, high socks. Where they kind of dress like Spike Lee, but then they make it like white and shitty.
Oh.
Pretty much is what you get. And yeah, it's just these people and they're on the plane and, you know, they were only connecting in Burbank, so I don't know where they were going, but I almost just wanted to be like, hey, just so you guys know, we got 1 million of people that dress exactly like you in LA. Like this.
Go back to Milwaukee.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if people see me and they immediately put me in a group that they think is so obvious and dumb to be a part of. Maybe we do that with everybody. But sometimes you see people just dressed in this way that you've seen so many other people dress with, and they dress and they act exactly like them, and you're just sort of like, is there no part of you that's like, who am I? You know what I mean? Is there no part of you that's like, do I like this? Like, is it weird that there are people that are practically identical to me? But maybe it's just because they're so, I think what it is they're so loud in their dress, but their dress is also so derivative. So you're like, I don't think you're making a statement because you're dressed like so many other people I've seen. So this like wild way you're dressing is having the opposite effect. I don't really see you as unique now. I see you as finding this subset and then completely putting on the costume to seem crazy. But it's like there's 1 million of you. Like if you were dressed crazy, even ugly, but in a way I've never seen, I would be interested by you because I'd be like, where did that come from? How'd you get there? With those people, I'm like, I know how you got here. It's all the same. And you guys, I don't know. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know shit about fashion or how to dress or anything.
I mean, you do because you dress normal. You know, I hate when people are like obviously into fashion in the way they dress, but their style is just so fucking ugly. And yeah, I look at them and I'm like, the only way you could wear that and like it is this weird rationalization of what your outfit presents.
Yeah.
And to me, I don't think it presents what you think it presents. So it feels like the whole effort here is kind of null and void. You are justifying this stupid outfit by saying it makes you look crazy, but it doesn't. It makes you look boring. So it's like, just wear a fucking members only jacket. This, you know what I mean? It's like, you're not impressing anybody. Nobody's like, whoa, I bet you think crazy things.
Yeah.
It's like, no, nobody ever thinks that at all about anybody. Like, I don't know. It's weird to be a young person and feel this, but sometimes you just see young people and you're just like, this is so obviously just a time in your life.
Oh, yeah.
Which I guess is not something to be mad at people for. I think it's actually
I mean, we're in the podcaster phase of our lives.
We're in the podcaster phase of our lives, which is a much more annoying phase to be.
That's around 24 to like 30.
Yeah.
You know? We'll be out of it when we're like, 30. Yeah, we'll be out of it when we're 30, 31.
Unless we got some cheddar.
Oh, yeah. If you guys want to keep us in the podcasting phase of our life, send us some money at Shane-Showbiz on Venmo.
If we start getting some goddamn cheddar, I'll do this till the day I die. But if I'm not getting paid for this in 2 weeks, I'm out.
God damn it.
What if that's what I told you when we started the podcast? I was like, if I ain't getting money from this in 2 weeks, I ain't wasting my damn time on it.
Yeah, we need to come up with some better... we need to come up with some clip ideas. So why don't we talk about something controversial that's not actually controversial?
Okay.
What if we're like, we'd look at the camera like, hey, guys, what sort of body count you think is too high?
Oh, I saw a video of some guys in LA stealing a Shelby, the Shelby car, the Cobra, very famous muscle car. They were stealing a Shelby Cobra in LA.
Yeah.
And I just want to let everybody know that that's actually happening a lot all the time in LA. So you should be worried about that. You should think about it all. I was watching Joe Rogan interview Tucker Carlson, because apparently in that they talk about Tucker Carlson's dad being involved with Jerry Garcia. So I was like, what's that about? So I was watching it. I just want to give a justification for why I was watching before people think I fucking love Tuck or anything. But they were talking and they were doing our bit of Johnny Dog shit, but just being serious.
Oh, yeah?
Where they were talking about California and they were like, well, the left, they're not tolerant at all. I mean, people die on the streets and they make money off of it. They love when people die on the streets because they get rich from it. And I don't know what they're alluding to. Maybe there's some sort of tax break for the state if you allow homeless people to live there, and they're saying that that's the government making money off homeless people. But they were literally just describing like LA and California, and they're like, yeah, man, everybody's on tents, and they make $1 million a year from them. That's how it is.
But isn't that our bit is making fun of people believing that seriously?
Exactly, but they're doing it.
They're just doing doing what we're making fun of?
Yes.
Well, yeah, a lot of people do that. That's why we do it.
Yeah. It's just, I just saw it, but it was so clear.
Yeah.
When they did it that way, because they were
Well, wait till they hear about Johnny Dog shit.
They would fucking hate him.
Oh, yeah. They would hate how he's like, let's elect let's give a Senate seat to a old Nazi whose every platform is, I need more twins for my collection.
The LA City has one of like the biggest budgets. You know what I mean? It's like bigger than some countries.
Yeah.
You know who we put in charge of the budgeting?
Who?
A dead fish.
Why?
I don't know, but the dead fish was only in office for 2 days. But you know who he replaced him by?
Crash Bandicoot.
The leader of the Church of Satan.
Oh, no.
And the guy diverted all the money to evil and wrongdoing.
God damn it.
Yeah. So now all
the
money...
Which for in LA, evil and wrongdoing is called not evil and good doing.
Yeah, it's called charity.
Yeah.
So
like if you do a drive-by in LA, it's called giving back to the community.
Yeah, so that guy diverted a lot of the money. So now they're spending $40 million a year on dumpster fires. They're also trying to breed more cats and dogs to live on the streets. And they're figuring out a way.
Yeah, they're training pit bulls to recognize the scent of babies and attack them.
Yeah,
and you know who's adopting these pit bulls? White liberals with purple hair.
Yeah,
and they don't know what they're getting into.
Do you know how people dye their hair purple? This is true.
Okay,
they take a Donald Trump flag.
Oh yeah,
and they put it in hot water. And then the ink from that comes out and it's purple, but it ruins the flag. And they use it to dye their hair.
Oh, wow.
And they sacrifice tons of flags every single year.
Oh, I heard they're doing this thing where they, you know how in the opening of Bibles, it'd be like, this Bible belongs to this?
Mm-hmm.
People are writing the name Donald Trump in that part, so it says, this Bible belongs to Donald Trump. And they're burning the Bible.
Really?
So they all get to feel like they're burning Donald Trump's
Here's
Bible.
the one thing, because I believe in green energy and stuff like that. Johnny Dogshit's new idea for energy consumption in LA, because obviously there's like not enough water and it's like tough, whatever. So he says he wants to heat LA via the burning of Bibles.
Yes.
So all sales of firewood will be cut short. All your utilities, like cold and heat, are cut short. And if you want any of that, you have to fire up some Bibles.
Oh.
I know. It's the truth.
Well, he took all the public toilets out of restaurants. So even if you wanted to use them in there, you couldn't. And what he wants to do, he takes all the dead bodies, all the thousands and thousands of dead bodies a year, and lays them out on the streets of LA, but he's turned their head into a toilet. And so...
Christ.
So you got to actually shit inside of the mouth of a dead body.
Did you hear what he did to Culver City?
He turned it to Coal City.
I know. It's completely unfair.
Yeah.
All those people who work on the west side at Google and Amazon now have to go into coal mines, which don't even have coal in them. They're just holes in the ground that they fill with methane.
They fill with methane and asbestos, so you get cancer.
He's spending more money on methane than he is water. We need water in this county, and he's spending more money on methane. And then fucking he turned Van Nuys into some place he's now calling Bomb City.
Oh, no.
Where just everything's made out of bombs. He built an entire apartment building out of TNT.
Yeah.
And he just says, well, guess we'll see.
Yeah.
Guess we'll just see. How's that safe? How's that okay?
Who's
voting for this?
It's us.
It's us.
Because we're registered Democrats. That's the only people we can vote for.
Is this the future that liberals want? An apartment building made out of bombs? What's going on? When is this okay? Why is this okay?
We got to move to Austin if we're trying to escape this.
I mean, it's
Austin's mayor, Cecil Good.
Cecil Good is so amazing.
Cecil Good is the best.
Yeah,
he's turning all the homeless into chocolate.
He's turning all the homeless into beautiful, beautiful chocolate statues, which on a nice day you can walk by and take a bite from.
Oh yeah, and he's trying to keep the weather. The weather is consistently like warm and sunny, never cold. It never gets too hot.
Mm-hmm.
He takes what the weather in LA used to be, which right now Johnny Dogshit has gotten it sweltering. He said, "Let's get it sweltering."
Yeah,
that's his campaign slogan. But Cecil Good is over here. He's managed to, and you know how much it costs to level out the weather like that? It cost $1,000 in taxes.
That's all?
It's all it costed.
Oh my God. Well, yeah, Johnny Dogshit has spent $56 million installing a very thin yet potent magnifying glass over the whole of LA to turn into what he calls a goddamn ant farm.
Yes.
And so it's a lot hotter. Some places you can't even walk through. You just catch on fire. If it's like at the pinpoint of the magnifying glass, there's a huge hole in West Hollywood right now because that's kind of the center.
Yeah. It sucks what happened to West Hollywood. And he said that he lit that one on fire, and which it feels bad for him because he loves the LGBTQ community so much on account of that they're evil like he is.
Yeah, he considers them agents of chaos. Well, he also has this new plan called Bring Godzilla to America, because he's like, America never had a Godzilla, so we deserve that. So he's trying to build some kind of monster to wreak havoc that we can then defeat, which he thinks will form unity in LA and create jobs.
Well, actually, what he wants is he actually wants the opposite of unity. He thinks that the monster should come in and destroy jobs.
Yeah.
And create chaos and turn brother against brother.
His campaign slogan was turn brother against brother. And we all voted for him.
Because we're liberals. Because we don't know any better.
We really don't.
We get played every single day.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks being a liberal because it's like the fat cats are lining their wallets and we're like, hell yeah, this is exactly what we want.
It is what we want. And that's
yes,
why
and I hate
vote.
that. Why am I so stupid?
Well,
why do I not move to Austin where all the smart guys are?
Well, it's because we have no value system.
Oh, that explains it.
We don't believe in God. We believe, more heavily in subjectivity than objectivity.
I believe everything science says is true.
All science
and everything
says...
the Bible says is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Which is just not a smart way to think.
No.
It's actually
who are you going to look up to?
Yeah, what am I going to be like? Instead of, oh my God, during sex, I'm going to say, oh my Stephen Hawking.
Well, yeah, Johnny Dogshit's trying to ruin religion in LA, so now he passed the Pray to Einstein bill, which every day you have to pray to Einstein and say, thank you, Einstein, for killing God and giving me the freedom to be bad with no repercussions morally.
Yeah. We're supposed to, God, have you seen Johnny Dogshit? All the Uber Eats right now is you just order, like, cooked bodies.
The car comes on fire. I went to get a DoorDash last night. I walk outside, the car's fully on fire. The guy walks out still flaming, and he's like, sorry, it's late. This new Johnny Dogshit law says I have to light a fire.
And every name on there is now ghostwriter.
Yep. Well,
so you also can't, you can only vote negative on it.
He replaced the whole police force with ghostwriters, and police brutality is up 6,000%.
And he said it's a little low for my liking.
Most people die from stop and frisks now because they get a flaming chain wrapped around their
You
stomach.
do not want to speed in LA anymore.
No, because you think you're going to speed and then you get pulled back half a mile by a huge chain, and then you get this weird sort of deity kind of giving you a lesson to scare you straight.
Oh, yeah.
But that doesn't actually lead to better behavior.
Have you seen his new The Greeks Are Right bill?
What's
about how like the only god is Zeus.
Oh, God. He's really doing that? He's going back to a polytheism?
Yeah, that's what he wants.
Except all the gods are just like poop, pee, blood, anger, violence, death. Like the only gods we can look up to are all generally negative.
Because that's the only thing in LA.
He made the god of he made the god of bad food.
The god of smelly feet.
He passed a law that every restaurant has to make their food worse. So all these places that are like, we get farm fresh ingredients, he's like, no, it has to be frozen and old.
Yeah, they actually have changed the name of every place called the New York Slice or New York Pizza in LA to LA Pizza, which we all know. LA Pizza. There's none of good of that.
Well, it's like Chicago pizza, except the cheese under is replaced by shit.
Oh, no.
So you cut into it, kind of looks like a normal Chicago deep dish, but it's just straight up poo down there.
Have you seen this bill, the Everything is Sarcasm bill?
Oh my God, I hate that.
Where now we don't even know if somebody's being serious or doing sarcasm.
I saw this video of him drinking out of polluted wastewater the other day, and he's like, we're saving tons of money not filtering the water. And then he's drinking, he's like, see, it's good.
And he's drinking it out of a dog's goatsy.
Yeah, and he's throwing up, and he's like, throwing up is good.
Yeah.
Isn't throwing up good? And the guy behind the camera is like, yes. I don't know. It is what it is, though. I mean, it's just what we vote for.
Because
I
we're
love
liberals.
how many other people truly think it is dangerous to just walk around in this city.
Yeah.
It's so big.
It depends where you are, yeah.
Of course there are dangerous places, but it's so big that you can never say LA is not safe. That's crazy. There are parts of LA, the same as any major city, where there is crime.
I've been walking around my neighborhood late at night recently. It's not a good idea.
Well, your neighborhood is kind of a weird place to walk around because you might see people doing a crime, but not a lot of those crimes are really, like, I don't know if people are really getting robbed in your neighborhood.
I don't know. I just
feel like if you want to rob someone, you wouldn't really be there because there's not really that many people. So, like, if you get robbed, it would be like, I think, kind of a spur decision by a guy probably like on meth.
Yeah.
Who's maybe not even much of a thief. He's just sort of like, shit, I need some money. Maybe he has, like that. So that way, I feel like I
haven't got robbed. I've gotten checked before. Like, I was walking in the direction of a guy and he saw me and then stopped. Like we were about to have an altercation, so I just like shrugged at him and then turned around.
What?
I shrugged at this guy who was about to. He just like saw me and then like he was ahead of me and he just stood there like he was mad and he was gonna beat the shit out of me. So I turned around.
But did you like look at him and go like,
yes?
What made you do that?
Impulse.
Was that just to show like a non-aggression of just sort of like, I feel whatever about this situation, and then turn around? Or
I think I kind of thought it was funny to do.
Was that just you being like, oh, I get that you want to beat me up, I'll turn around?
Yeah.
What do you think?
No, it was just kind of like a casual like.
What do you think?
Shit.
What do you think would have happened if you like kept your head down and just walked by him? Do you think he would have stopped you and been like, hey?
I honestly don't know. I think the guy was fucked up.
Yeah, because usually in those situations, I probably would have just like kept moving and just given the impression that I'm not really thinking about him very much, that I'm just on my way to do something else.
This is also 3 a.m.
Yeah, still.
Yeah.
It just seemed like you're up to something else. Because I feel like if you get too nervous and slow down and stare at him a lot, then he can take that as like, he's also preparing.
Well, I also didn't have anywhere to go in that direction. I literally was just walking to walk. So it's like, I might as well just turn around.
That'd be sick if you just kept going, though, for no reason.
Yeah.
You got your ass kicked. Walking a direction you didn't even need to walk.
Yeah. I don't need anywhere over there.
Yeah, that's also a bad answer for a gang member or a cop.
Yeah.
To be like, I'm not going anywhere in particular. Because they both assume you're going to go do crime.
Yeah. I just don't have anything. I'm just trying to get 10,000 steps in today, officer.
Yeah, that's always a weird thing where you're like, you feel like if you say something as pussy as that to a gang member, they just be like, well, why would it? This guy has nothing to do with my life. He's trying to get steps in. Mm-hmm. Like, this isn't even worth beating up.
Yeah.
They could also be like, fuck you, idiot, and just be like, you're so dumb, it pisses me off. Because I think sometimes people can be offended for like, you should know that you're making me feel like I have to fight you.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, it's kind of like, I feel like sometimes if you're in certain areas and you're not supposed to be, like, obviously, like, people are just like, what are you fucking doing?
Yeah, like, sometimes you hope that it just ends with them looking at you from afar, like, look at that dumb white guy, he shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
But also in this thought of, like, it's not even worth beating him up.
Yeah.
I won't, but maybe somebody more crazy will. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that's who you get beaten up. You don't get beaten up by, like, the really good criminals who do a lot of crime. You get beaten up by like some crazy guy that's willing to just beat up a random person.
Yeah, you get beat up by Stevie Flamethrower.
Yeah, because I feel like an actual criminal who lives in a community would be like, it wouldn't really be a good idea for us to beat up this out of town white guy because that could come back on us.
Yeah,
but maybe some meth head would be like, you're the guy that's been following me, and then you get beat up or something.
It's my shadow.
Yeah. Oh,
great. God's here.
Oh, my shadow. That is what's wild about, like, with somebody who's, like, kind of experiencing delusions like that. You can just walk by them and you think you're a stranger to them, but they're like, oh, good to see you, Dad.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, no.
I'm not Dad. And then they're like, Mom?
Yeah.
Mommy.
That's
why Mommy.
That's why you eventually just avoid eye contact with people going wild. I think that's a weird thing for people like not from LA or a big city to realize that like if somebody's screaming on the street, you just keep your same exact pace and just look at something else. Because if you slow down, you're like, what's going on? Like if you handle it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people who come here are like, well, this guy's in trouble, I'll help him. And you're like, do you have years and a mental health facility? Because if not, you're not going to help him. You're just going to make eye contact with him and then he's going to be like, you! And lock in, you know? Can't get too locked in because sometimes with homeless people on the street, it's love at first sight.
Oh yeah, they see you and they're like, that guy's face would be perfect for my fit.
Ooh, pretty boy. There's a weird.
I was standing outside my building smoking today. I told you this before, and a guy came by and he was acting wild and he kept yelling the N-word, and then he sees me and he goes, "You not working today, gangsta? Yeah, you better do some gangsta shit today," and then walked.
Yeah, that's also a thing that happens is you kind of never know who you're going to be to a homeless guy.
Yeah.
Because like I think if you are chilling and you're smoking a cigarette and you also kind of look tired, like you haven't had the best day, then they kind of are like, he also looked kind of pissed.
Yeah.
I think it's when you're walking around being like, feeling like you're having a great time is when they're like, why the fuck are you having such a good time?
Why are you smiling?
Like one time I was smoking a cigarette. Well, I was driving home at 2 a.m., so my window was open, and there was a homeless dude screaming on the sidewalk to the left of me, kind of across the street, and he saw me smoking, and he said, "The fuck is you smoking for, faggot?" Like, his assumption was like, I have a hard life. You're a fucking white kid in a car. What do you need to smoke for?
Yeah.
So without meaning to, I looked like I was on top of the world.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if you just look like, man, I don't give a fuck, then they're just sort of like, woo!
Sometimes if I'm not listening to rap music and I'm sitting in my car smoking, I'll be like, damn, I hope the homeless people don't hate what I'm listening to.
I think about that with other cars and everything all the time. Sometimes I'm like smoking, listening to a bluegrass song, and I remember I have a shaved head, and I'm like, I hope people don't think I'm a fucking racist.
Huh. I never think about the racist shit, because sometimes I'll be listening to country music with my window rolled down and smoking a cigarette, and it's just like hope they see an outlaw over here.
I'm just the kind of guy that like looks pretty intense, and people are like, you seem like a crazy white dude. So if I'm listening to bluegrass, people can kind of put a lot on me, which I don't think ever happens. I don't think anybody hears my music, looks in my car, thinks about me at all. But you have there's been times when I've thought about music I've heard coming from cars. I remember there was a period
where that Kendrick song was playing out of every single car. You remember that? Like a month ago, where you would be, I feel like I was at Mexican Village, my open mic, and it's outside. It's basically outside, so you can hear everything the cars are. And multiple cars pass by playing that like Kendrick song.
Was it They Not Like Us?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense because that was first off, it was big because it was against Drake and it was making fun of him. It's also like upping LA a lot, so it's an LA song. And now it's like become kind of like an LA anthem.
Yeah.
People want like the Dodgers to have it be their home run celebration, so definitely in LA you're going to be hearing that
that's got to feel so bad if you're Drake, but also like if you're Drake you're a pedophile, so who cares?
Yeah. I mean, we joke about living in bad faith. I feel like the whole reason people don't like Drake is they just view him as a man living in bad faith and constant conflict and completely inauthentic in everything he does. Whereas Kendrick is like pretty known as being pretty authentic and also being like an artist at the same time. So he kind of like gets a similar appreciation that Tupac had.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, they're both like tough and men of the people, but they're also like, poets in the same way. So there's just so much more that's like, I think like inspiring and interesting. And Kendrick is kind of everything everybody wants from rap.
Yeah.
Where it's like, he's like from a real community of real people going through things. And he's also like a very intelligent guy who can describe, and like use poetic words. He's such a good writer, but it's also like the cool like California thing where it's like, he's not just doing like mumble rap. He's like really like he's a great rapper and a great writer. And Drake is a really bad rapper. He can't rap. Like he can't actually rap any of his own songs. He has no breath work. Like, did you ever see that Kanye Drake concert at the LA Coliseum?
No.
It was for it's for the dude that invented the Crips. It was like for his trial, I think. But Kanye did a set and then Drake did a set. And Kanye went up, no backing track, just the beat, and then he rapped the whole thing, like word for word, running around the stage, like amazing breath work. And then Drake comes on and is just trying to like lip sync while his song plays. Not really lip sync, he's just playing a song, you know how rappers do. And then he raps along like once every 3 words. Sounds terrible, sounds nothing like his song, so it's clear he's just auto-tuned every single time.
Yeah.
And I think the whole concert was kind of a setup for Kanye to show that Drake is a fucking bitch. Because we have rappers now who can't rap.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to know how to rap anymore with how much they can produce your shit. So then live shows are really the only test of who can actually rap. And if you look at most like live rap shows nowadays, like the only people that can actually rap are like Kanye and Kendrick, and almost everybody else that's a famous rapper just plays their song and occasionally goes like, yeah. So like everybody knows that just Drake is just inherently untalented and just an industry plant. And yet he picks fights with real rappers, mostly just for clout or whatever. But I think sometimes it backfires because he's like, oh, this will like, get both of us going and people will talk about us. But it's like, well, one of you is going to win and one of you is going to lose.
Yeah.
And Kendrick is not like, I mean, I'm sure to some extent he is, but he's not really like a networking marketing kind of guy like Drake is. So like if you start a beef with him, he's not going to like pull punches. He's going to call you a pedophile.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think Drake was like, yeah, whatever. It's just this dumb rap beef. It's all a joke. And then Kendrick was like, I fucking hate you and I know you're a pedophile. And he was like, haha, no, I'm not. And that was the only response he had. Even his response was like, I knew you would say I'm a pedophile. You know that?
Yeah.
He was like, that's so stupid for you to say. I knew you'd say that. It's like, what is your response to it then? How are you defending yourself? You just agree with him? That's what a pedophile would say. But yeah, Drake just sucks. And
he should have said, I know you are, but what am I?
I mean, the allegations are definitely, I think Kendrick has sped up the time that the allegations are coming for Drake. Because I always figured it would be like maybe 12 years or so when he's really not making as much money.
Yeah.
But I think Kendrick might have dropped that down to, dropped about 3 years off that. So yeah, I mean, the minute Drake stops making the kind of money he's making now for the amount of people he's making it for, he's going to make money for somebody else, which will be the press calling him a pedophile. Because that's what I think it is pedophiles are protected by the industry for as long as the industry can make money off them. But then when they can't, they kind of just sell him off to the press.
Yeah.
Be like, well, he's not really worth it for us now, so you guys can write some terrible stories about him and make your bread because we don't need him anymore.
Well, here's how you know me and Cooper, you and me, are not pedophiles. Audience, listen to this. We're not making any money.
No money.
No one's making any money off of us.
If we tried to be pedophiles, we'd be caught so quickly.
Absolutely.
We have no money.
Yeah. We have nothing we're providing for anybody.
And you
We're
should
a bunch
know
of losers.
that the only reason me and Shane want to make money is to impress older women.
Women that are 60, 70 years old.
90. 100 years old.
Way too old.
Yeah, like to the point that it actually might be exploitive for us to date them.
Oh, yeah.
Where
This is
people
actually way creepier.
Yeah.
Way creepier than dating a child.
We're going to old folks' homes trying to fuck them.
Because we heard they have STDs and we're trying to purposely infect ourselves with STDs.
We're bug chasers, but for old people.
Yes.
I want that chlamydia that's aged like a fine wine. All right, well, that's gross.
Yeah, okay.
We can call that an episode.
Yeah, let's do it.
Stay right.